My name is Sue James. I'm the current chair of the President's Commission on Women and Gender Equity. I've been a member of the CSU faculty here since coming as an assistant professor 23 years ago. And I can't tell you what an honor it is to stand here in front of you today celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Commission. Looking back at the history of our Commission, I find myself humbled and honored by the dedication and hard work of the numerous men and women who worked on the Commission over the last 20 years. Many of you are here today. And those who worked on the task force that led to the initial Commission. Some might ask, why are we celebrating? Don't we have more work to do? Yes, we have lots of hard work ahead of us, and we will keep working. All of us, the Commission, the other groups, organizations, and individuals dedicated to gender equity on campus, and really the entire CSU community. But it's important to celebrate our successes, to draw attention to and highlight the battles we've fought and won along the way. As President Obama said in a recent speech to the Gates Foundation, better is good. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that this campus is a much better place for women to thrive than it was 20 years ago. Much better. Believe me, I know. Just one example. I gave birth to 2 children 17 and 20 years ago when I was an assistant professor, and there was no parental leave policy for faculty on this campus. I was fortunate enough to have a great department head who really didn't know what to do because no one in mechanical engineering had ever given birth before. But I had a lot of sick leave stacked up and I was able to make it work. So we're going to celebrate today and this year, and then we're going to keep doing the hard work ahead of us. With that, I'd like to start by recognizing some special guests who are here with us today, and a few special individuals who worked tirelessly to get the Commission started. These include former Provost Ellie Guilfoyle, who wasn't able to be here today. Ellie was such an important mentor to me personally, and to many of the women in this room, I'm sure. She helped shepherd the task force on the status of women while she was the provost. And while President Emeritus Yates isn't with us today, we are joined by his former assistant to the president, Myra Powers, who was also instrumental in the formation of the Commission. Thank you, Myra, for everything. I think Denise Freestone might know. We're not sure if Denise was able to make it today. Denise helped Ellie launch the Women's Leadership Mentoring Circles. How many people remember the Leadership Mentoring Circles? I know they were really important to me and made a big difference to my own career and how much I benefited from them. Indeed, the Standing Committee on the Status of Women Faculty is now talking about how we can bring these active mentoring circles back to campus. Finally, I'd like to thank all the past, present, and future CSU students, the faculty and staff who are here, and including all the current and former CSU leaders I see around the room, department heads and chairs, members of the past and present President's Cabinet and the Council of Deans, especially those of you who played a role in the Commission and our partner organizations over the years. This celebration is for you. So I've been chairing the Commission since 2015, but I did sit on the Commission back in the early 2000s when it was a very new body. And I remember distinctly when I left my first Commission meeting, bursting into tears. And I looked back and I think, why? What was that about? Maybe it was because I just enjoyed the power and camaraderie of a room full of like-minded women, many of them leaders that I truly respected and admired. Maybe it was because it was the first time I'd ever been to a meeting in the presidential conference room in the administration building, and it dawned on me for the first time that the full weight of the president's effort was behind the Commission. And that was really important to me. I was a transplant from the East Coast in the Chicagoland area. I went to a true melting pot public high school. And I was utterly disappointed in the lack of diversity on campus and in Fort Collins when I arrived here in the mid-1990s. Well, I'm happy to say that the commission does have the power of the president's office behind it, a power that has increased significantly since Dr. Tony Frank became the 14th president of CSU in 2009. It may have been coincidence, or not, that in 2009, the commission recommended the president be required to respond to the recommendations they put forth every year in writing and in person. Before that, we were never sure what happened to our recommendations. Well, if you go look at the history of our recommendations and the responses to our recommendations, which are all on our website, you will notice the Tony effect that I'm talking about. We have seen an unprecedented level of commitment and momentum from Tony's office, including growth in the number of people and units dedicated to advancing women and gender equity at CSU, a permanent budget for the commission, and other groups that are working on diversity across the campus.